my topic. Beyond spiritual to the divine. You know how it is with words? That you say something long enough, like the word guru, really in the real essence of the word, it's teacher of ancient wisdom that they could apply and use and gain, in a sense, liberation and also a complete self-satisfaction and full consciousness and realization and activation of who they truly are in all aspects of and beings, because we are all part of I call them mother, father, divine beloveds, but beyond that, my best friends, my source, my partners, these are all just words that we're, in a sense, describing these kinds of relationships. But it's, you remember in teaching saying that our God within is closer than breathing, you see, or hands and feet, because we are part of, and yet we are also individual. And remember, I like to say achincha beta beta tattva, meaning we're inconceivably, simultaneously one with each other and also different. We're unified and we're also separate. So we're the same and different. That's great. Yes. And inconceivably, because the mind can't think of that, because that mind is a limited thought machine, basically. So it's a creative, it's used as an interface to hijack our natural creative abilities to be creating this fear-based scarcity reality. And so we're only creating that when we are believing these thoughts and making them real, and calling, in a sense, the outer real. And remember, a reel is also a movie reel. So yes, it could be an outer movie reel, but we're thinking of authentic and true and eternal as who we are. So anyway, the word spiritual is said for so many things and includes so many different things and people's opinion, just like, a word after a while loses its potency and becomes scattered, and then we're grasping at a word to explain something that is beyond words. And only those who have that experience understand it and know that, because they have it. So our powers of divination. And these are all bad. The church told you it was bad, but they were doing it. It meant it was, you can't, but I can, But it has to be how you use your powers and abilities, because you already have them, and everyone does. So when we get caught up in what everybody else is doing, or we get caught up in this spiritual path or that spiritual path or that spiritual path, we're still on some kind of a path that's been trod before, and then they become freeways and highways and main roads and such that become walked over and over again. But unfortunately, those don't tend to be the best routes to take to yourself. So this divination, then, we want to start to activate our powers of divination, because we have them: sensitivity, knowing, feeling, and also different abilities that sometimes, like in the cards, and some people in their ability then to read the cards. And those symbols that were actually on those cards, there's like my great-grandmother, because coming from that Irish background and that culture, and would read the tea leaves, and she would also read the cards, and she was a nurse, and she had seen the beings leave their bodies oftentimes when they would drop their bodies, and she could see their light, the emanation, as the spirit soul continued on its journey. So anyway, our powers of divination, and that means also here in nature, divining. That means sensing and tuning in, not to some spiritual concept, not to some spiritual path or spiritual teaching, so to speak. If it's a valid teaching, it's empowering you. And that self-empowerment comes from a teacher. It comes from an example to help guide us to self-recognition of our divine partner beloved, all-knowing, everywhere present. And so therefore, because we are part of that, we are that in a sense, to that degree, yes. So activate your powers of divination. Part of is by, in nature now, like listening to the bird sounds, see. And see, we've got airplanes, we've got all this stuff going on, but the more we could be in silence, and then you listen to the sound of the trees and the flowers and the bees and the earth and the feeling, and why the barefooted. Like when it's cold, sometimes I'm not, because I don't want to get a chill. You have to understand how you function. But like usually in the mornings when we come up for doing these videos, sometimes I'll wear my shoes, but for sure then on the way down, and I'm going to make sure that I go barefooted, because I don't want to cheat myself out of that opportunity to have myself, my soul, in harmony with the divine Sophia, Gaia, Mother Earth, conscious being. You see, there's some who say no and some say yes. My experience is that all that we are perceiving in essence is personal, and yet these are forms that those entities are somehow manifesting or part of. And it's so to activate your powers of divination, you want to notice your intuition and validate it, check on that, trust your inner guidance. When you're going out to do something and your inner guidance said, you better check the stove, check the stove. And it may have been on or maybe it wasn't, but there was something that needed to happen to cause you to wait another second before you got on the road, you see. And to start then noticing the signs of the divine that are communicating with you and with all of us. And just like as these birds, they're talking to each other, they're saying something, and they're important also for the balance of nature. So one of the things that I do, and I'm going to need to collect some more, is I take dry cow dung. This was an Essene practice and also a Vedic practice of balancing the nature spirits, because when you start working in the divine, that's where the real beauty is. People want to say it's in numbers, it's in letters, it's in symbols, it's in, gold toilets, and, all of this. This is pathetic for these people who are so out of touch with the divine that they hate the divine or crush the divine. And they themselves have a fakey thing called science, seance, hypnotic trance, force, everything, to try and have what we have already. And all of this outer stuff to catch us to ads, public relations, media, constant mind stuff happening all the time, images, pictures, sounds, all this distractions. What is self-love? I don't love Terry. That's it. I am love. That's who you are. But it's self-honoring. You have to honor yourself. Because the greatest pleasure, the greatest joy is the love of the self. And that self, the divine, the source, the divine magic that we're part of. And then nature, the divine feminine. Everything starts, we become more conscious of this. We then are now participating and witnessing and experiencing how the earth herself is correcting. There's energy that's here now, that we're all free right now. to be whatever. No limits. Do you go to the mind, oh, then I could have this, and I could have that, and you'd miss it. It's like you're settling on vomit for food. When you could be eating the nectar of the gods. The divining abilities, sensing, feeling, tuning in, being with Mother Earth, listening.